I sit next to her at the board meeting, so she is, truly, I mean, everything they said in there and more. What would we do without me? Good, how are you?
Hello. We're going to open this meeting, and I would love for somebody who is online to give us a thumbs up or a wave or something to let us know if the mics are working.
I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Okay, before the next thing before we begin is that we've been asked that if you are speaking, please speak clearly into the microphone. You don't have to bring it all the way up to your mouth, but if you can just at least make sure that it's pointed in your direction. It has been a little bit hard for the people online to hear. So with all of that, good afternoon, Airport Advisory Committee members and guests. It is November 19th, 2025 at noon, and I'm calling this meeting to order. Team EUG is committed to creating a welcoming and safe community for everyone in a place where every person can experience a sense of belonging. The Airport Advisory Committee is committed to maintaining a respectful environment for all committee members and guests. I would like to start by asking guests at today's meetings to introduce themselves.
I'm Callie Stubenberg,
Can you?
competing with people online. I'm Callie Stubenberg. I'm the airport engineer.
Randy Riccici, former committee member and just interested citizen.
Regina Peak, admin.
Mariah Mulcahy, Project Management and Environmental Compliance, Airport.
Jody McNatt, Airport Operations Manager.
And Randy, can you help us with the people online? Okay, thank you, but you will get those all down because you're doing the minutes, right? Yep. Okay. The purpose of this committee is to develop recommendations for city staff by providing an ongoing citizen perspective and review of the airport activity report, airport capital improvement program, airport enterprise fund budgeting process, and changes to the airport administration policy. As stated in the committee bylaws, members have the obligation to consider the welfare of the entire city and to be fair, objective, and courteous. We have established the following meeting decorum guidelines to ensure a cohesive and equitable environment for committee members and guests. Guests attending the meeting in person and online are asked to sign in and introduce themselves when asked. Public comment at the end of each meeting shall be limited to 10 minutes unless a majority of committee members present vote to extend the time. And the presiding officer shall establish a time limit for each speaker and may limit the number of speakers. With that, I give the floor to Stephanie, Assistant Airport Director, Finance Administration for the Airport Director's Report.
Okay. First off, I'd like to mention that Catherine Stevens had presented to council at the work session last week on the liftoff EUG and to give them an update on the expansion projects that we are working on. You should have, all AAC members should have received an email of what was going to be covered during that work session, but prior to that work session. And I was there and it went very well. So maybe if there's something more to be said about that, Catherine will mention it at the next AAC meeting. But as far as I'm aware, there wasn't anything notable to really come back with on that. So now I'll send it over to Randy for the October activity report.
Okay, so as you can see as our October activity report, we had a pretty good month. Operations were up 2%. Air carrier landings were up 14%. Employment passengers for October up 3%, and year to date it's up 1%. Our total passengers were up 2% for October, and year to date up 1%. Our airline load factor was down about 8%. We were still hovering around 74%. Probably has to do with Velo leaving the market. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Stephanie. Airline market shares, Alaska Airlines is at the top of the market, followed by United and Southwest. It looks like they're holding pretty strong compared to the 2024 numbers. Air cargo employments are up 44%, year to date up 29%. I know that one of the air cargo is done for the year, but I don't really know much more about that. I think Andrew's kind of working on some sort of update for you guys on that, I think is what he said last year. Moving on, our departures and seat capacity for November 2025 were up, departures are up 16% and seat capacity is up 15%, it looks like. Departures and seat capacity, March 2026. Departures are up 20% and seat capacity is up 24%. And if we look at the load factor comparison, this is for August 2025. The FAA puts these out and they are always a couple months behind. So this month we're looking at August. We're kind of right in a little above the middle on here and highlighted in green. We were at 81% load factor, with a couple other airports a little higher above us, but we're standing pretty strong. And then for our general aviation comparison, for September 2025, we are in the dark blue. For the local operations, we were pretty steady for the month of September. And then for our itinerant, for September 2025, we were holding steady compared to last year. It looks like, of course, Boise and Redmond have higher itinerant passengers than we do, but we were holding steady compared to 2024 on those. Any questions?
Thank you, Randy. Now I will give the October financial report. Operating revenues. Okay, operating revenues are 20% above budget and trending 15% above fiscal year 25 year to date. This is due to ground transportation and airline reconciliation revenues that were received in July 2025. There was a decrease in variance from fiscal year 26 as compared to fiscal year 25 of about 20%. This is due to internal revenue reversals that were completed to move the airline reconciliation revenues that we received in July 2025 to being received in fiscal year 2025, since they were fiscal year revenues. Operating expenses are 21% below budget and 2% above fiscal year 25 year to date. This is due to costs associated with personnel. We're down about 22% there due to a few position vacancies. Materials and services are under budget. It is early in the fiscal year and many costs that were averaged out as a cost per month budget item have not been spent yet. Fire costs are down. We have moved back to ARF Index C and will likely see increases in expense while under the increased ARF Index rating. We also were notified today that we may also see an FTE increase due to some contracting that the fire group has gone through for the unionization of their group. Capital, we purchased a Toro 60-gallon sprayer so far this year. We are sitting at a $2.6 million operating balance. For the revenues chart, October 2025 revenues for the month are significantly lower than that of October 2024. This is due to those revenue reversals that I told you about for the airline settlements that were for fiscal year 25 and those being moved out of fiscal year 26 during October's numbers. Compared to September 2025, revenues in October 2025 are also significantly lower, same reason. For expenses are higher in October 2025 as compared to October 2024, and expenses for October 2025 are slightly higher than September of 2025. Cumulative net gain loss without relief grant. We have a loss in October 2025 as compared to September 2025 and have a net gain of $984,000 as compared to where we were in October 2024. Again, I sound like a broken record. This is due to the internal revenue reversals that we saw for the airline settlements that they completed to move those revenues from fiscal year 26 to fiscal year 25. Any questions? Okay. So moving on, we'll get a project update from Mariah and Calve, our project managers.
All right, is this thing working? Oh, sounds like it is. All right, here to talk about construction projects. Oh boy. So first one on the list here is the runway 34 right drainage improvements project. So this is a project where we're trying to eliminate ponding that's happening at the south side of runway 34 right. Been working on it for a couple of months now. We are mostly completed with the work. We have a couple ancillary items, some more seating to finish up out in the field. We have a little more fencing to put up. But the main big ticket item that we still need to get done is, now that we have this wet well that you're seeing in place and enclosed and all the piping connect to it on either end, we have all the ditches graded. What we need is to connect the wet well to electrical power so that we can hook up pumps to pump water out of the well as it starts to drain in. The ditches and the grading that we've done have done a fantastic job already. I don't know if any of you have noticed as you drove by. Normally, the south end of runway 34 right in that farm field is a complete lake. Right now, it's been very much drained out. Now, where all that water is in that structure there. That's about 15 feet tall. It's about 10 feet deep worth of water right now. So it's pretty full. We sure would like to get some pumps in there. Unfortunately, we've run into some issues with our electrical subcontractor that have delayed some of the parts and pieces and the project. Really, it's that we need approval from eWeb to connect to their power, and we also need approval from the people supplying the pumps to make sure that everything we've set up is all proper. And that has kind of delayed things further and further as we try and finish up electrical and then get those approvals. Realistically, we're looking to actually get electrical connection and pumps installed and therefore the project finished by early January at this point. There's really not much more work going on with regards to the project other than just waiting to get those pumps in there and the seating and fencing that I said earlier. Concourse A asphalt rehab, we're done. All the construction items are completed. The asphalt out there looks great. It's unfortunate that it's in this horseshoe shape, so I have a hard time getting a full scale photo of everything. So we did the best we could with photographs, but it's all been operating super well out there as far as I'm aware, unless anybody has anything different. But it's been draining super smooth. Airlines haven't been having any issues. Everybody's happy that all the gates are open, which is super sweet. And yeah, I don't have any other items that need to be completed. So at this point now the asphalt mat is on a warranty period. So that will last until October 17th of next year. So for any defects or anything that occurs that are shown to be poor quality of the product put down, we'll be able to get the contractors to come out and fix it, which is great. But that's where the project's at. We're in warranty and closeout, which is awesome. So you're seeing us go back and forth here. Sorry about that. It looks like we're missing a slide for the old car wash project, but I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on it. As for the old car wash project, we've been making progress as the weather permits. So we've got all of the sidewalk work done that we're intending to. We've been double checking it and everything's ADA compliant, which is awesome. We still need to do milling and paving in a couple of areas. One of them being the old car wash area, the other being the current ready return lot area. We also have some lights to replace, some striping, and some signs to install as well. And finally, there's currently a one-way road situation that was meant for lawnmowers that we're going to construct into a full one-way road that everybody can use to tie back into Douglas Drive from Lockheed as needed. We've been using it as a construction entrance, and we want to save that last because that area is going to get beat up if we put a bunch of dump trucks on it and other construction equipment. So All that to say is we are looking for weather windows to continue paving because asphalt work is the majority of work that's left. Unfortunately, paving is really sensitive to temperature and to rain, and we're just getting lower temperatures and more rain as we move forward. So we're going to try and get done what we can, but it's looking more and more like at this point, any asphalt work is going to have to be saved until spring, and all the other work is kind of tied into getting the asphalt done. So we'll try to get done what we can, but it's looking more and more like we need to push this off until March or April to get things wrapped up. That is all that I have for car wash, and I'll pass it off to Mariah.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Concourse A expansion here. I know we've talked about it in past months, but as we get closer to actual construction of the project, we'll make sure it's on the docket and giving you guys all updates as we go. So currently the project is advertised. So we should have somebody that is awarded by the end of the year. This image here just kind of gives you the bigger picture of kind of the full aspects of the project. The main area here is the expansion area. So that's about 7,000 square feet of new seating area. To the west there in the building is the A-gate bathroom remodel. So that will be a full remodel of the current A concourse bathroom. Yes, it will have to be closed when that work's happening. So that is something we will have to coordinate with the contractor and our terminal manager with signage for, facilities downstairs, which again, the bathroom downstairs is a little smaller, so we'll have to figure out how that works. But unfortunately, right, to do a remodel, that's just what we're going to have to do. We are going to be adding an ADA lift on the exterior to the north side, so that will help for emergency egress or just egress of anybody who, may not be able to use the stairs. We will also be adding a universal changing station and the family restroom downstairs. So it's essentially just like a baby changing station, but essentially can accommodate anybody of any size. So if somebody's accompanying an adult who needs assistance, they'll be able to utilize that. This will last 12 to 18 months. We're definitely closer on the 18 to probably 20 months time frame for construction. So it's advertised currently. We'll start construction in February of 2026, so very soon. That'll be some enabling work and some of the smaller pieces on the north side, like the ADA lift. The project will have 3 phases entirely, at least the way we have it now. There may be some things we modify when we get a contractor on board. That'll have some more final dates and phasing for that, because each phase will have a lot of sub phases for that. And then we will have final construction around November of 2027. So here's kind of a look at the interior. This is if you were standing in the new space. If you go to the next slide, please. Okay. So what you're seeing now where the people are standing is if you were coming up these escalators and you're looking at the windows. So I do want to note that this is an updated design, so we will be issuing an addendum in our current advertisement to reflect that. But again, so the walkway right now, right, you go to the right and you go down that long corridor. What this will be is, again, going up the escalators where the current windows are. That would be the new walkway area. And there's a reason for this that I'll touch on later with some other projects. But essentially, the new space will have the walkway and a bunch of seating. If you go back to that picture. So again, now you've gone into the walkway, you're in the new expansion area. You'll have seating on your left-hand side, seating on your right-hand side. Obviously, you'll have signage. And then keep going for me, please, Randy. So right here, right, is now you're kind of standing in the expansion area, right, almost where gate B1 is, and you're looking back towards the escalator area. So there'll be some more comfort seating there. Next slide, please. And again, just kind of another view when you're sitting in the inside of the expansion area. And then this is a snippet of the A-gate bathroom remodel. So we're a little confined by space in there, but we were able to bump the stalls out a couple inches. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more space, but we're not adding stalls or removing like quantity of fixtures. And this is if you're standing to the south of the building looking north. So if you're kind of up above gate B1 area looking to the north. And then if you're standing on the north side of the building looking south, that's where the ADA lift will be. That's an existing egress stairs. So we'll be adding a lift to those stairs. So this is another project we've been working on, more recent project. I don't know if it was in the slides last month. So this is the gate A5, A6 jet bridge replacement, and then a relocation of gate A6. And again, this kind of goes into why we will be adjusting the walkway for the expansion. This will consist of, again, replacing them at A5, A6, and then a relocation of A6. This is for aging jet bridges, also called passenger boarding bridges. So they just need to be replaced. And with replacing them, we had to think about what's the best location for them. Next slide, please. So this shows, so A5, gate A5, again, is just a straight up replacement. Gate A6, which is the most south gate or most east here, we're considering and most likely going to be relocating it to this location here, which again will be closer to all this seating. So the goal is to try and pull some of that traffic away from the A concourse where it currently is, move it further down. So we'll have seating in that area. And then that walkway, again, will kind of come through the center with seating on both the right-hand side and the left-hand side. So again, attempting to kind of decongest the current A concourse seating area and fully utilize the new seating area. Because we did recognize that we can build all this new seating, but if people want to sit right near their gates, it might not be utilized, fully. So the thought is to kind of pull some of that back here. Additionally, why I highlighted this image is this is our outbound baggage expansion building, and then this will be the new C concourse bridge out to the new C concourse. Where the current position is and where the wingtip clearances are, it's awfully close to that new area. So there would definitely be impacts to that gate during construction, so closures. So the hope is that when we reconfigure where the jet bridge is, we will decongest the A concourse, allow for additional seating in this area, and then also provide a lot more clearance to the construction of the new BHS building and the future concourse C. So the thought of this is we already have to replace these jet bridges. When we replace them, let's be considerate of future expansions and development and what is the most effective position that we can put them at now. With where gate A6 jet bridge is currently, you cannot, with how it is, you can't reconfigure that envelope without relocation. So that's kind of why, again, we're considering the relocation as well with the expansion area to just try and get more seating and people to utilize the new seating area. Does anybody have any questions on that stuff? Okay. So during, not at this point, but during the Concourse A expansion, yes. We will have a closure of gate B1 for quite some time. That's not fully defined yet, but most likely currently it's starting in March 2026 for the majority of 2026. Yes, there was a question if gate B1 will be impacted by any of these projects. Thank you, Stephanie. So moving away from expansion projects, we also have to maintain their current facility, right? This photo here just shows some areas that we've identified as needing to have some refinishing and restoration. This will be the refinishing of the tongue and groove boards on the ceiling there and the canopy areas. And then also some structural repairs that we need to make on some of these beams here that we've identified as having some issues. We've had an assessment done for some damage. And then we will be putting together kind of some package that we'll put out probably early next spring. So this will be done next year in 2026. So this building here, I kind of touched on it. We refer to it as our BHS, which is bag handling system building, or our outbound baggage expansion building. We're currently finalizing the design right now. Construction is planned to start in 2027, so there will be some overlap from the Concourse A expansion and the outbound baggage expansion project. This image here is just a rendering as if you were standing out on the ramp. Again, this is on the north side, right here area, looking towards the project. So you'll have two baggage carousels here where the bags will be screened in the building here. and then pushed out to the carousels for the airlines to come and grab the bags and put on their bag carts when they're have departing flights. Okay. Yep. And then again, this we're finalizing design now, construction in 27. And again, these are all like really big enabling projects, getting us ready for that Concourse C expansion. We need to be able to accommodate increased passengers, increased luggage, be more streamlined and effective with our new flights and hopefully new concourse. Questions on any of that, or need to look at the slides again? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I announce the airfield presentation or do you? Next, we have the airfield maintenance presentation by Jody McNatt, Operations Manager.
Yes, it was quite the surprise to see you all today. I'm filling in for Rob. Unfortunately, he's not able to make it. He's at a training, so I will try my best not to butcher his presentation. All right, so the structure of the airfield maintenance team is, of course, you have Rob, but he has 7 full-time employees. That would be 2 lead workers and 5 staff. And he's also oversees the USDA technician that is full-time on our field. So we have 26 fenced acres that, of course, our maintenance team is fully responsible for covering. We also have 1,115 acres outside of the airport operations area, with 499.5 acres outside that is leased to farmers. We have 2 of them that operate for us. 167.5 acres of stormwater ditches that they maintain to ensure that everything doesn't overflow off of the property. And also an additional 2.66 linear miles beyond our property boundary that's also maintained to unobstruct flow to the Amazon. There's a lot of numbers in here. Okay, so we have 11.5 miles of airport security fencing. I was actually quite astonished to see this number because even I've been here for a long time and did not realize just how substantial it was. We have 1,222 acres inside the AOA and 711 acres that are contracted for farming operations within our fence area. The farmers actually help us with maintenance as well, keeping them a little bit smaller. The City of Eugene Airport Maintenance Team maintains 511 acres of grass within the AOA to a height of 6 to 8 inches to deter wildlife and also to provide proper line of sight for runway and taxiway lighting for commercial and general aviation aviators. They also maintain a total of 92 gates around the airport security fence, 17 powered vehicle gates, and they also have to do the preventative maintenance for those monthly. And then 16.4 linear miles of ditch bank maintenance for stormwater flow. This includes mechanical mowing, cleaning, removing beaver dams, along with other long-term watershed maintenance programs. All right, so the airport has 8,157,051 square foot of asphalt and concrete that is monitored, and also they perform crack sealing, sweeping, and cleaning of these areas. And they also have to maintain 3 inches of lip. That means asphalt to the dirt levels that on all of our paved surfaces to meet FAA requirements. And they also have an additional 1920 perimeter gravel roads and 9.40 paved linear lane miles for a total of 26.6 miles of required pavement management. All right, so the airfield maintenance teams, they conduct painting operations from typically July to August. If they can start sooner, they will, but we are all extremely weather dependent with that. They also use 256,000 square feet of white paint annually. That's a lot of paint. And 128,000 of black paint used. And that's also to paint edge markings and hold short bars and center line enhancements on all of our taxiways and our runway. And 128,000 square feet of yellow paint is used annually for edge markings and hold short bars in our taxiway center lines. And also all of our surface markings over 2 years old, they have to go back and ensure that they're all enhanced in black paint to meet FAA standard. So with the expansion of our airport, we've also been enhancing our taxiway system for low visibility operations. And with that, we've inserted a lot of in-pavement lighting. So with that, every time you have an in-pavement light, you also have to torque them and check them bi-monthly. And that is the FAA standard. And there are currently 600 in-pavement lights that need to be torqued or inspected. And then there are 135 lights that are inspected, cleaned, and repaired monthly. There are 29 metal signs within the runway safety areas that also require inspections and cleaning, and all our wind indicators are also on a maintenance schedule. And also our perimeter fencing, we have signage that is mandatory for those sections as well. All right, and now we're in our winter operations preparation phase. And so here's a scrunched up example of our airfield system and our priorities. We have our priority 1 clearance that is we submit to the FAA to ensure that our commercial air carriers are the first priority to maintain our certification. And so the areas in red is the primary runway, 16 right, 34 left. Yellow is the other areas, anything leading to and from the terminal facility. That is the priority 1. And also our fire crews, our path to the runway is a priority. And our cargo ramp, because that's how we get our mail, get all of our Amazon packages. All right, and then the other areas is what is our priority 2 and priority 3. And then everything that is not in a coloration inside the perimeter fence, I should say, like our other runway and the other supporting taxiways to that runway, we just don't maintain it all. And now wildlife mitigation. The airfield maintenance team spends a lot of time hazing, deterring wildlife activity in support with the USDA technician that we have on the field. We also have surveys that must be done by the USDA to ensure that we are meeting our wildlife management plan. And so he does nighttime surveys, daytime surveys, and then throughout different times through a 24-hour period. The airfield maintenance team also utilizes propane, bird cannons, pyrotechnics, any method that we have to deter from having to depredate. We don't want to do that. So we try to harass them as much as possible. So it's an uncomfortable environment for them. So they live somewhere else. All right, so we have a lot of assets that we have to manage in the airfield maintenance department. They also maintain all of our service vehicles. That would be for my department, landscape. It's pretty much the entire airport. So they prepare everything for fleet services so they can do the maintenance on them. So the airfield has 25 vehicles. With those vehicles, 25 attachments that, assist with plowing, sweeping, or mowing. We also have 17 passenger vehicles and 11 agricultural vehicles with various attachments. And snow removal vehicles, we have 8 of those, and 11 equipment mounted trailers. And then he also will help coordinate getting our ARF and our police vehicle maintenance as well. Anybody have questions?
So thanks for the presentation. I don't know how you get all that work done with so few people, so it's amazing. Just out of curiosity, as far as the wildlife mitigation plan is concerned, where do the beavers and the beaver dams fall in that? What's the story about that?
Well, with the beaver dams, what they do is they block our waterways, so we get a backup of water on our airfield. And so they will just take out the beaver dam. That way it's removing a nest. And we don't really do anything beyond that. I know USDA, they have special rules with the state that they have to follow. I'm not an expert in that, so I can't really fully answer that question.
But you've never received any complaints, right?
I have not.
I mean, from the public, just,
I don't believe so. I don't believe the airport has received anything from that.
thank you.
Yeah, I'll just add on to there that we have a rehoming so that they do get moved occasionally. So they will trap them and then relocate them to another location.
Thank you for that report. Okay, next up is committee members, open discussion, questions, comments. Anything from the group?
I just wanted to mention, you were talking earlier about the presentations that were done before the city council about the expansion and all those sorts of things. I'll just mention also that Stephanie and Andrew were there for a program that the City Club of Eugene put on and discussed basically the same kinds of things. We had a couple of other guests there as well. Brittany was there and Councilor Evans. So it was actually a very good presentation. And I think people appreciated it a lot and it was well attended. So thank you for that. I think they're not here, but thanks for doing that.
So I'll just add that that presentation is recorded and it could be viewed again. I don't know, Randy, if that would be possible for you to send out a link. Thank you.
Just so you know, you can find it. You can find the City Club's recordings and so forth on YouTube.
Natalie, I'm sorry, it's super tiny to see everybody in the room, so I don't know if it's a raised hand process, but I'd love to get in the queue.
Okay, great. Right after Courtney.
Yeah, we had some conversations on the side about it, and I pitched the idea of making some time, probably in the next 6 months. I might advocate for when it's a little warmer out, to potentially have this committee do a tour of the current baggage handling. And maybe some of these projects we've talked about that are in their current state, but will soon be moving towards a future state. Just give us an opportunity to have that firsthand experience seeing it so we can be advocates for the great work that's happening.
So Stephanie, you've got that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just note that this was discussed offline from this meeting, and we had talked about doing it next month. I do think due to weather, it might be better to wait a little bit longer, but I'll leave that up to Catherine's discretion. If it is decided to do it this next month, I'll make sure she knows that we should send out a blurb to you guys so that you know to dress appropriately.
Thank you. Okay, Brittany.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody. I am at home with a sick kiddo. I was really hoping to be in person today. I just wanted to add to Eric's comments. Catherine also did a presentation at the Chamber's Economic Summit event last Thursday. And we have gotten rave reviews of the presentation that she gave and just a lot of people aware, I think, of what our airport provides to the community that were not aware in the past. That it's just sort of, they don't think about it. It's not in their consciousness. And so they didn't really understand or really think about the economic impact that the airport has on the community. And so it was just a great awareness piece, but then also I think a lot of people pretty fired up about an airport expansion project. So just wanted to say kudos to Catherine.
Fantastic. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then I will open it up to guests. No comments, then we will adjourn. Thank you all very much.